Welcome back. This is P-Mail Bacon here, and I'm bringing you a very special feature this evening. It's gonna be, that's right, Metaphor ReFantazio character tier list. Now, I'm gonna be honest, first time I've ever done a tier list, and I just finished off with Metaphor ReFantazio, the video game. That's right. Took me about 95 hours to hit completion. It is absolutely, if you watched my other video about the Game Awards, which some people, were unhappy about. So I understand if you skip by it, that's fine. Hey, no offense taken. That's fine. You would have heard me say in that video that Metaphor ReFantazio is my game of the year. Absolutely 100,000,000%. I don't even have to think twice about it. And I thought, well, there's lots of ways we can go about this. I could just gush about the game. I could glaze it for a good hour and tell you why it's good, why you should play it. I'll be honest with you. There's a ton of videos out there that you can watch, reviews, whatever, that's going to talk about how great it is. What drives a story and a plot like Metaphor for me? Pretty simple and pretty straightforward. It is 100% always and forever going to be the character development and the story arcs that take place within the game. So the plan here is we are going to do our first Metaphor ReFantazio tier list. I do feel like this game is absolutely deserving of this privilege. So very happy to bring this to you. Now I'm going to be honest. I'm looking at some of the characters here. I don't know if I remember all of them. There's okay, no, I don't know. I do remember most of them. Okay, so you'll have to excuse me. I'm looking here. No, they all look pretty good. Okay, I think there was a couple. Maybe I was like, oh, who's that guy? Oh no, that's the king. Okay, right. It's hard to tell by the picture here. All right, I think we're good. I should be able to speak up to most of them. Am I going to remember every single character's name? No, I'm not. I'm just not. Okay, so criticize as much as you want. It's fine. Let's get rolling. Number one. Now, goddamn. All right. This is going to be the hard part. I have to remember all their names. So, oof. Okay. Well, the first one's easy. Sanctifex Forden. We know that. Now, Sanctifex Forden. Okay. Let's think about this. Sanctifex Forden is kind of like, he is the epitome of like the big, bad, spiritual leader, if you will, if you want to call him that. He's kind of like the Pope, but evil. And some people would probably say the Pope is evil. So in that case, he probably fits that stereotype for you perfectly if you think the Pope is evil. That being said, I was kind of surprised because about halfway through the story, oh yeah, and sorry, big spoilers here. Big spoilers, okay? If you don't want spoilers, tune out now, okay? There's no way we could do a character tier list without getting into spoilers, so apologize about that, but sorry, we're going to be talking major spoilers here. We have to. I mean, all these characters have some storyline for the most part. Anyway, Sanctifex Forden. Halfway through the game, I honestly thought he was going to be the major antagonist of the game. And he was not. If we remember, Luis comes crashing down. He definitely has some kind of dark megala about him, but I think we end up learning that the dark megala is just the anxiety that wells up within us. Thinking back on it, saying I'm fresh off the game. I literally just finished it 2 days ago. I've allowed it to kind of settle into my mind, so I haven't gone back and really re-examined the character stories in any meaningful way. But now that I'm thinking about it, he did have some dark presence about him. And you have to assume that was the anxieties that he was building up over his fear about becoming the leader, I guess, of the kingdom, right? Like he seemed to be stressed as hell about that. A very crafting, cunning individual. Kind of, I would say, I don't want to say completely surface level, but he seemed a little more one-dimensional than a number of the other characters in this cast. That's what I'll say. He had clear motivations. He was easy to understand, but he wasn't a particularly nuanced character. He was after power and wanted to hold the throw-in for himself, and he was willing to rig the entire tournament in his favor to see his ends being accomplished. So easy to understand, clear motivations, decent character. I didn't like him as a person. He's a very bad man. And for that reason, geez, it's hard. I'm going to say, he's low. I'm going to say he's low B tier. Sanctifex Forden is a low B tier character. I think he really helped the plot development and the story. He's not a likable character. He is he evil? I'm not even sure he's evil. He's more of a gray area type of character, but he's not particularly likable, but he did help move the story forward. So for that reason, I'm going to give him a B tier. All right. First one done. Sanctifex Forden. We'll see how this evolves, as we get through. Okay. We're getting into some very... it's already getting interesting. Okay. Alonso. I feel like Alonso is going to be a fan favorite character. I feel like people are going to love him. I probably have seen some Reddit posts and stuff about Alonso that, people are already really super hot on him. He's a good looking dude. Okay. I can't remember the race that he is. He's the same race as Juna, right? They got pretty eyes, they seem to just be a generally pretty type of looking race for some reason. He gives us some of the good archetypes in the game. He gives us the Faker archetype, right? That's definitely one of the more fun archetypes in the game. It's something that I abuse the hell out of, so he's really super good for that reason. I would say early game, fairly OP. I'd say that kind of dwindles off more to the late game. That particular archetype doesn't work quite as well. But I remember going through the second dungeon using one of the almighty AoE attacks and just spamming mobs like crazy and crushing them with that, I think it was free juggle. Is that what it's called? So really cool. So he gives us that ability. He fakes his own death. Pretty badass. He comes off as this conniving, scheming trickster, but at heart, he's really doing it for the people of his village. He takes an interest in the main character. He was actually one of the first people to recognize our potential. He helps us. What the heck does he do now? I'm trying to remember. He does something in the early game. He helps us get an item back. It's somebody's daggers. Oh, it's Grius's dagger. That's right. He helps us get Grius's dagger back early on in the game. So nice guy that way. After pretty much his first social link, he just kind of turns into a genuinely kind of good guy. He gives us a bunch of money, and then we give that back to his village. The more I talk about it, the more I think Alonso is a pretty damn good character. Nuanced, intelligent, gives us good archetypes, handsome, technically rich, I guess, aids us in honoring the memory of Grius. Guys, I think he's an A tier. I think he's an A tier. Now, I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to just be giving S tier to every main character, okay? S tier, right now, I'm just going to tell you, we're probably only going to have like 2 or 3 characters in S tier, okay? I'm just going to tell you that right now. So lower your expectations. I have very high expectations for S tier character, and you're going to be unhappy about some of the choices I make here, okay? Oh, shoot. Basilio is over here, too. Okay, we're going to move Basilio down as well. Okay. Barden. What do we think about Barden? I mean, I'm going to be honest. Not my favorite social link to do. I didn't find it super interesting. He gets kind of power drunk halfway through his story. He ends up getting ostracized by the village and literally considers leaving the village because of his actions. And kind of just generally seems like a really unconfident person for most of his storyline. Eventually, we do build him into being like the individual he's supposed to be, but it takes some time to get there. It's really not until the last couple social links that we really get to that point where we're, and apologize, I know they're not called social links. I can't remember the name of what they're actually called in Metaphor, but you all know what I'm talking about. It's the social link. Come on. All right. So, but you know what? So the one thing that's cool about him, well, okay, he does give us again the archetype. If we're thinking about archetypes, he gives us the commander archetype. Very nice, very good deal. I use the commander abilities like crazy. Shelter formation, right? What's the vigor one? I can't remember. The one that does more attack damage. I use those like crazy. So he gives us some good stuff overall. He definitely a key component into leveling up some of the royal archetypes. I like the sandworm boss. We go out as, I think that's the 8th part of his story, number 8 or 7 or 8. I can't remember the second last one. We go and help him out. We fight the sandworm. We do that kind of thing. So there's a boss. I really like, that's one thing I liked about the social links here as well. I got to look it up. You know, what the heck are they called in this game? They're not called social links. It's going to drive me crazy until I figure out exactly what that is. Social links, Metaphor. I'm going to look this up on my phone really quick. Persona follower bonds. Follower bonds. Okay, they're called follower bonds according to IGN. All right, so Barden, I hate to do it. Not my favorite character. High C tier. He's kind of a whiny bitch. He doesn't really come into his own until much later on into your follower bond. But you do get to fight a sandworm, and he does give us free items. We wake up in the morning, and he gives us free items, and he gives us Sumptuous Megala Feast, I believe, which is a super good frickin' item, and that really helped me at the end game to beat some of those bosses. So, you know, just generally, I wouldn't say I love him as a character. He's fine. Okay, this next one, hot topic, very hot topic here. Brigitte. This is a tough one. Initially, comes off very cold. She is a dog lover. I'm a dog lover. I'm an animal lover. She sells igniters to the city, to the royal capital. When we first meet her, I mean, really, she's actually aiding in keeping the existing ruling class in power through the sales of igniters, because igniters are so expensive that nobody else can afford them in the city other than the elite, and that helps them to maintain power. So generally, she's kind of starts off as viewing power as a mechanism to kind of just take care of oneself. That seems to be her initial outlook. And then she's very confused by our main character, who comes in and is like, no, I'm just trying to be like a good guy. I just believe in like the goodwill of people. That's generally kind of where we're coming from. And her dog gets stolen, very sad, and she's heartbroken about the dog, which I like that. I would, you know, my dog got kidnapped. I would also be absolutely livid. She turns out to be a really just good person, really turns around. She ends up wanting to do better for society. She wants to sell, I can't remember how it ends off with her, but I think she was something like she wants to sell igniters for cheaper or completely get rid of them altogether. Is there some line that she says about, we realize igniters can no longer, are not necessary because people can just create their own magic. So I want to inspire people to, you know, basically create magic for themselves. And, you know, it's actually a pretty good storyline. So hers is pretty good. I feel like people are going to be mad at me if I don't give her, I know everybody. I know most people here want an S tier for her. She wasn't an S tier for me, to be honest with you. I didn't find her super hot, okay? So for that reason, I'm going to give her probably an A tier. Is she better than Alonso? I honestly think that she might be better than Alonso, to be completely honest with you. I'm going to be completely honest. I think she's better than Alonso. As I'm talking, it's funny because I didn't come prepared to this. I didn't know how I was going to feel about some of these characters reflecting on it. And look, I mean, tomorrow I might come back, I might feel differently. And after reading into some of their stories again, like I got to refresh my memory on some of the stuff. I spent 96 hours playing this game. Okay. I don't remember everything that happened, or probably most of what happened. I think this is fair. I think she's probably slightly better than Alonso. Not significantly better, I will say, but a bit better. Okay. This dude, I mean, I just picked a random tier list here, okay? I don't even know why this dude's on. I kind of just wish this dude wasn't on it. I mean, he's evil. He works for the army. He's a complete simp for the military. He wants to just fuck us over. He's the kind of the first major boss fight, I think, if I remember correctly, other than like the human that we fight at the fort right at the beginning. He bitches out. He runs back to the city, and then we never really see him again. Something happened to him. I can't remember what. Is he? I'm gonna say D tier. He's not terrible. I mean, he kicks off the story in a meaningful way. He's the one who sends us to die at the fort. He's just an asshole. He's just a douchebag. But I think he still plays a part of the story. So I'm not going to say he's an F tier complete failure of a character, because I remember him as a character. I couldn't even tell you his name, though. So not a good character, but I guess still played a part in the story. So I'm going to say D. Okay. This next one. Oh. This pains me. This absolutely pains me. Katarina. Man, I love Katarina. I love her. She's there through the whole story. She's passionate. She has goals. She has vision. She has a dream. She mirrors and parallels our own character in so many ways. She just can't quite get it across the finish line. All she wants is to do well for the Parapis race, and then realizes how difficult it is, and just wasn't able to establish the connections early on enough. I think she's a little bit airheaded. You know, she's maybe a little cocky, a little bit. Gives us the brawler archetype. I mean, brawler, pugilist, you know, really I abused those early on in the game. I think they kind of fall off a little bit later, but gives us some more memorable archetypes for me that I definitely use the hell out of. That forget mechanic on some of the enemies was awesome. I just loved her character design. She totally has like main character syndrome, like 100%. She could have just been as easily, like in terms of art style, design wise. I mean, she could have just been like a main character of the game. Like, and the fact that she wasn't in our party pisses me off so much. It drives me crazy, man. And I know why they did it. Or at least I think I've surmised why they've done it. People have said, oh, well, if we added her right, we would have so many melee classes. Look, you could turn anybody into any class. Look, I had Stroll as a healer. I had Stroll as melee and healer. So I had him basically. Stroll was my paladin, dude. I know Hulkenberg has a paladin class, but my real paladin in my party was Stroll. I had him on physical with the samurai and all that shit, and then I had him on healer as well, and he was healing and dealing the damage. So don't give me any bullshit about that. You can't you have too many melee classes, or you can mix it up as much as you want. Just if anything, they probably could have allowed us to have more customization over the stats of the characters and stuff like that. Maybe that would have helped a bit. Maybe we could have threw Katarina in there. And one of her social link abilities or follower bond abilities is she joins you for the dungeon. She literally joins you in random dungeons, and she super helped. On the Last Dragon Tower, she showed up for the Last Dragon Tower. I get to that dragon, she blew off like a quarter of that dragon's health. It was freaking amazing. I love Katarina. For me, I'm putting Katarina high A tier. She doesn't hit S tier for me because she's not in our party. Okay? But goddamn, if they release another Metaphor game, or even a DLC, release a DLC where we play as Katarina. I would freaking love that. I love her as a character. I love her voice actor. She looks cool as hell. She's just like a lovable personality. Like I say, she's maybe a little dumb. That's fine, but okay, whatever. You know, it is what it is. Okay. This guy. I don't remember what is okay, Yufa's brother. Okay, what is Yufa's brother's name? Yufa's brother. Adeni. Okay. Adeni. I'm gonna say he's actually a good character. He's not a follower bond or anything like that. But he does play an integral part, especially once we get to the halfway point in the game. He's the first real Mustari that we really build a relationship with, which is very interesting. He loves his little sister, and he really plays a major part in shaping the events around what happens at the Dragon Temple. Yufa would have sacrificed herself if it wasn't for his love for his sister. He's like implores us like, hey, don't. You know, I don't want my sister to die. I want you to go save her. So we wouldn't have done that. And then, of course, we get one of the best characters in the game, Yufa. Okay, spoilers. He's the leader of the Mustari tribe. He changes the weather for us. He just seems like a chill guy. There's a scene that I love that's closer to the end of the game where it definitely seems, and we'll get to this, okay? I don't want to jump the gun on this, but it seems like Yufa kind of wants to bang the MC. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, she seems a little thirsty for the MC. So he says something to us along the lines of like, don't give me a reason to hurt you or something. I don't remember exactly what the line is, but he's basically kind of mildly, jokingly threatens us, but not so jokingly. I kind of like that. He's got that big brother vibe. He still, you know, he cares a lot about his sister, obviously. And he's just generally a badass. I love his helmet as well. He's got a cool helmet that he wears. I'm going to say he's very high B tier. He doesn't have a full social link like these characters, so we never really get to know him or learn much about him or who he is or anything, so he's still a bit of a mystery. But I'm going to say he's high B tier. He's a good character. He plays an important part in the story. Like I say, first Mustari that we really kind of build a relationship with, and it's all history from there. So very good. Okay. Oh, man. Oof. Fabian. Now look, I'm sorry, you might not like it, but we are going to be building this into the calculation. Fabian, pretty hot character. Okay, everybody likes come on, everybody likes Fabian. She runs the Honeybee, and she is like kind of like almost like a freedom fighter, right? Like she got the spirit of a freedom fighter. She's just there for the goodwill of the people. She took care of Maria after Grius died, and before then, right? Grius was out adventuring or whatever. He joined the army, was doing that whole thing, trying to restore the honor of the prince. Fabian's just all around it a fucking absolutely great character. We never really get to spend much time with her. We don't know that much about her. We don't know what her history is or why she's doing what she's doing or what her motivations are. She's a bit of an enigma. Oh, man. This is a really tough one. I'm honestly stuck between her and and Adeni. Because we know more about Adeni and there's more character development, I would argue, for Adeni than there is for Fabian in some ways. But Fabian is just such a solid character throughout the entirety of the story. I really feel the only reason I put her under Adeni is because of that reason. Is because we don't actually know much about her. I love her as a character. I can't recall that many memorable moments. I just know she's a great character. But nothing sticks out in my mind that's like, this is an amazing character that's really helping to carry the story in a big way. But if you liked her more than Adeni, or even if you wanted to put her in low A tier just for her character design and what she's all about, no judgment. I think she's just overall a cool character. I'm going to put her here for now, okay? who knows? We'll see. We'll keep going and we'll see how things go. Okay. Okay. Man, this is hard. Okay, Fidelio, the brother of Basilio. This is a serious one. This is a big time serious one. Okay, first of all, my impression of Fidelio is he's a complete asshole. He's not a complete asshole. He's a he has a exterior of stone to help protect himself from being emotionally caught up in people that he doesn't feel are going to move him forward in the direction that he wants to move forward to. I think he genuinely wants a better life for everybody around him, but he has to look out for himself first. And especially he has to look out for his brother Basilio, and that's his major motivation. His major motivation throughout the entirety of the story is that he really cares about his brother. That's what he cares about. And, okay, big spoiler. Massive, massive spoiler. He sacrifices himself to save Basilio and dies in his place. Now, here's where I'm actually kind of conflicted on this. And this is an interesting point, I think, to bring up about just the general story of Metaphor, or the choices of the characters that they decided on. I feel like Basilio could have just as easily taken the place of Basilio. I'm just going to say that. Would have Fidelio been an awesome character to have? Like, he would have almost been like Ken in Persona 3. I think that's his name. The kid in Persona 3. He almost kind of like has that vibe. Ken was a really nice guy. He was totally different personality. But like, there's no kid character really in our party that, you know, whereas in Persona 3 we have like literally a child who's in our party, and I feel like people would have been all over that. They would have loved a Fidelio in the party, and he could have just as easily been a Fidelio. Now, would he have, again, maybe the problem is that, well, this is a great point though. If people are complaining there's too many melee characters, Fidelio would have been an awesome mage. He would have been a great mage character. He could have been a healing character. Maybe he could have had a coming to God moment. Basilio gets killed by Luis instead of him. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to dedicate my life to healing the world. And then he becomes like a badass, like just bomb healer for us. Just saying. I really like Fidelio. Really good character. Don't know much about him again. But his actions affect and shape the story in such a strong way. It's inevitable to deny his impact on the rest of our experience for the rest of the game. He kills that octopus motherfucker on the gauntlet runner at that one point. I'm gonna do this. This feels right. He feels like a high A tier character. I still like Katharina more, because she still feels like a more involved member of our party. But Fidelio does feel intrinsically tied to the events of the story and how everything plays out, and is a direct conduit into Basilio joining the group. So, okay, this dude, again. I know who he is. He was in the tournament. He basically was a figurehead for the church. If Sanctifex Forden didn't take it, he was kind of there just to weed out some of the competition. Maybe he could have won, but I think his face did appear on the rock maybe early on, but he fell off real hard. We beat his ass many times. He is a whiny little bitch. He's a total cuck for the church. My only thing that I really like about this character is that he ends up at the church at the end, and we can buy items and purify and all that stuff with him, and I think that was really funny. And then he also kind of does come around, and he has, Rella gives him his vision, and, he does have a bit of a coming to Jesus moment where he's like, oh, maybe this wasn't all that I thought it was cracked up to be. But generally not a great character. Like, he's just, I won't say he's not a good character. Like, I still think he's written well and everything. But just, he's an idiot. He's a total moron, and he just can't think for himself. He's a total drone. He's a loser, and he ends up losing. And he ends up being the priest of the church. I'm going to put him... I mean, he's definitely better than him, but he's not better than Barden. Is he a D-tier character? Does he have any meaningful impact on the story? Would the story have changed in any meaningful way if he wasn't in the game? I don't think so. They could have wrote him out of the game easily, and it wouldn't matter. Okay. This guy, the Hound. I don't remember his name again. I don't remember his full name, but he's the Hound. Okay, Luis's Hound. I don't know. Like, total lame ass. Kind of looks like a pimp for some reason. He certainly had aspirations to be either one of two things. He actually seemed to have aspirations to almost overtake Luis himself. That's like the vibe that I got from him. I don't know. I don't have much to say about this guy. I'm going to be honest. I mean, my biggest memory of him is fighting him on the Gauntlet Runner, on Luis's Gauntlet Runner, after the night of the big party. We beat his ass. One of my favorite moments in the game happens fighting this guy, which is when Juna comes to realize her archetype power and takes off her mask or whatever. I know it's not Persona, but you know what I'm saying. Rips her heart out. And so that was cool. He's just kind of a loser. He's just a massive loser. He thought he could take out Luis. Like, he thought he was competition for Luis. He thought he had a shot in the tournament to become the king. Absolute loser. Loser. Huge loser. But still more memorable than this dude. So he's going to go in D tier. Okay. The king. Oh, man. The fucking king. Hythlodaeus. Okay. Where do we even start with the king? Gets fucking murdered. Somehow doesn't die, uses the royal magic to come back as a fucking planet, or whatever, a giant rock in the sky, to determine the outcome and fate of his country through sheer willpower. And as we learn, it all wraps up in the end, and we learn that he actually is, in fact, like the designer of everything that has happened. Not exactly. It's a bit of a gamble. He says it's a gamble, and that he hoped that things would turn out the way they do at the end of the story, but it was a massive gamble for him to take it. Absolute badass. Does everything he can to let events unfold as they would naturally through a democratic process, even though he understands that the game is rigged right from the beginning through people like Luis and stuff. They're going to totally, play chess with the whole thing. Turns out he also, he creates a similar version of him, a simulacrum or whatever you want to call it. What do they call those things? A homunculus. He creates a homunculus of himself in the form of Mor to kind of carry out his will to instill the power of the arc. He is the fucking grand designer of this shit, man. He is a fucking genius. King Hythlodaeus does not get enough fucking love, let me tell you, through the whole game. Like, the whole thing is conspirated by him and his royal magic, and it's unbelievable how it's all able to pull together at the end. God damn. Okay, I'm going to go. Oh. He is such an important part of the story. He is such a huge, massively important part of the story. Now, do I love him as a character? Like, do I love his character design and stuff like? No, not really. Like, he's fine. He's the king. He's just some old dude, But he plays such an important role. But I don't love him as much as some of the other characters. This one's really hard. Because, like, honestly, he's definitely A tier. But the question is he high A tier because of his role in the story? Or is he low A tier because, there's just cooler characters? Is he better than Alonso? A lot of people would say, no, there's no way he's better. We're going to throw him here for now. But if it strikes my fancy to move him up, I will. But I think the king absolutely deserves some massive recognition. Yeah, obviously he's not the coolest character, but damn, man, he's a badass. And I think he absolutely deserves some major recognition for his role in the overall storyline. I'll be honest with you. Okay, the next one, Rella. Okay, Rella. What are we gonna say about Rella? Okay, so she is the sister of Juna. Yeah, I mean, yeah, gets her some points right there, I guess. She is the one who cast the curse on the prince originally. Kind of a bitch move, but she was a young kid when she did it. She was convinced by the church to do it. She was manipulated. I don't really never felt that she had a sense of guilt over the whole thing, which is kind of, I think that's my concern, is that she never seemed to really truly embody any form of guilt for doing that to the prince. We have a very cool moment with her when we go to the mage tower, or whatever it's called, the mage academy, and she's like, I gotta test you, and brings up the ice dragon, and we fight the ice dragon, and, you know, beat her ass, of course, and she helps to push us to higher heights and the next level of our power ability. But she is a little bit of a rat. She's a bit of a rat, and I don't love her for that. She has a cool character design, but she lies to us through most of the game. And she's more of an antagonist than she is a protagonist. However, she does, again, she has her coming to Jesus moment, and she alerts the entire kingdom about what's going on, or all the followers of, what's it called? The religion that they believe in. Oh, God, I can't remember the name of it now. But anyway, whatever, the main religion that Sanctifex Forden oversees, right? She sends out a message to all the followers being like, yeah, the MC, the main character, is the prince, and you better fucking listen up here. So she does do us a big solid on that end. She does kind of come around. I don't love her that much. I definitely like her more than Sanctifex Forden, but I don't like her as much as Fabian. Let's be honest. She is not on our side really through most of the game until the very end. So, hey, if you love Rella, if you love her character design, I totally get that. I think she has amazing character design, but she's a rat, dude. Okay. Next up, Barden. Excuse me, pardon. Sorry. This chick. We already did Barden. I'm looking at Barden. Okay. This rat Heisme-like chick here. I have almost nothing to say about her. She's a contestant in the tournament. She's boring as hell. I thought that we were going to get more story from some of the tournament. Why is she even on the list? I'm just going to say that. Why is she here? F tier. Absolute loser. I don't care about her at all. Do not give a shit about her. Okay. Loveless. I think that's his name, right? Loveless? The hippie dude? Okay, he's also a contestant in the tournament. We fight him, I think, on 2 occasions. Is there 2 occasions we fight him? I can't remember. Not a particularly remarkable individual. Really cares about the Parapus. He's like a very shitty version of Katharina, basically. Not nearly as cool, not nearly as strong in his convictions. He wants to legalize alcohol, which is pretty damn cool. I will say, that's the one thing I like about his character. No, not even legalize alcohol. He wants to give alcohol for free to everybody, okay? And just, hey, look, in the comments here, if I'm getting anything wrong about the story of the Lord, please correct me, okay? Throw your comment in, let me know. I'm just going off the top of my head here. I haven't done my homework. We're just, going off of what I remember from the story. So please, if I'm getting something wrong here, correct me. I don't think he's a great character. Is he better than this dude? Than the bald dude? I don't know if he is. I think you could go either way. I feel like him are pretty much exactly tied. Loveless seems to have a bit more character growth. You have a little more interaction with him, it feels like. But the bald dude also ends up at the church and ends up, you know, helping us out with some shit. And it kind of does seem to really come around. Loveless doesn't really feel like there's, you know, feels like the end of his storyline is not really super important or dramatic in any way. He's just kind of like, yeah, I'm a fucking loser. Yeah, you're right. You beat my ass. I'm see you later. I'm a hippie loser. I'm going to go smoke some drugs in an alley. That's kind of how it feels with him. So, not super impressed with Loveless. I don't think he's an amazing character by any means. Okay, this dude. I don't remember this dude's name. I know him. He thinks he's like super hot or something. And maybe some people find him to be super hot because he's got eyeshadow on, but not my type. I don't like him. I don't like him one bit. I like nothing about him. He's an asshole. I debated him a couple times on the stage. Absolutely wrecked him. And then we went out, and he caused some trouble for us. He was, what the hell did he do? I can't even remember what happened now. Jeez, what did he do? I don't know. Remind me in the comments exactly what this dude did. But I'm gonna be, okay, he's better than him. He's probably more memorable than the Hound, but the bald guy's probably honestly better than this dude. Really not super impressed with this dude's character. Like I said, I can't even remember exactly what the whole thing with him is. I know he was like, oh, come challenge me out on the Gauntlet Runner and I'll give you an item. That's kind of what he said. And we do get a good item from him. I think it's the item that gives you all stats +5, I believe. So he does give us actually a pretty good item. So that's the one good thing about him. He's a total jerk. Yufa absolutely levels the motherfucker. She's like, beauty? I don't see any beauty in the inside or the outside, motherfucker. So eat shit. So that's cool. But he's a total loser. Okay. Okay. You know what? Let's do this fucker before we get into this. Okay. We're getting into the good stuff now. This dude, same, you know, I honestly don't have much to say about this guy either. You know, he's another tournament competitor. He's an asshole. He's arrogant. He's pompous. He has no memorable moments to speak of. He's just another guy to go and take out and get an item from. You know, there's a little bit of end game stuff. It kind of feels like a bunch of fluff. In fact, I feel like he's even worse than Purple Hair here, because I remember less about him than I remember about him. I remember actually, I went to the one dungeon that was near his Gauntlet Runner, and I thought I was going to hit his Gauntlet Runner on the way, and I just didn't. I just went right to the dungeon instead of it, so I had to actually waste like a day to go back to do his Gauntlet Runner. It was super annoying. Like, why didn't it connect? You know, if you know what I'm talking about, on the right side of the map there was kind of the snowy area dungeon. Super annoying. And I can't remember what item this guy gave us or what happened as a result of that. I don't remember. So, I don't know. Not a huge fan of this guy. I have nothing meaningful to say about him, really. You know, escapes my mind in terms of the major story plot points and everything. Yeah, whatever. He's garbage character. Okay. Oh man, we are getting into the heavy stuff here. Okay, Maria. Such a wonderful character. Absolutely adorable. Heart of gold. Wants the best for everybody. Love her right from the start of the game. Every single time I got to do a follower bond with her or whatever, I looked forward to it. I loved bringing her the pictures of our journeys. She was the one character who felt truly invested in us right from the beginning. She believed in us. She was our cheerleader. She had her own hopes and aspirations and dreams. She kind of embodied what I feel like is, you know, kind of like everybody's average experience as a child. Like, she was the pure picture of innocence in so many ways, and every moment I spent with her was a moment of joy that I genuinely wanted to be there with Maria and continuing to build that relationship with her. Such a good character, and I don't even have to think twice about it. S tier. And there's nothing more to say about it. I mean, Maria is just one of the best characters in the game. In fact, there's a big reason why at the end of the game, you all have kind of like a reunion with Maria at the end. And guess who shows up on the Gauntlet Runner at the end? It's Maria, and we're taking her out now onto our first adventure. And I read a comment that was very interesting, that she kind of filled the gap of like the remaining races that we were missing. Can't remember them. Ishkia and Rodigan. Is that the other one? Rodigan. So she kind of filled the gaps for the missing race that we had, because Grius, we started off with Grius, who filled that role, but we know what happened to Grius. And she kind of filled that in, and she kind of completed the puzzle for us. She was the big missing piece, and I would love, again, maybe we get a Metaphor game in the future where Maria's growing up and she's the protagonist of the game, and it's like a whole new story in the kingdoms. She has to restore balance to the kingdom or something. I would love that. I would freaking love that. That would be awesome. Okay, Moore. This one's a tough one. Moore, I think, is a very important character. Definitely drives the story forward in many ways. Helps us to come to the realization of our own powers with the archetypes and whatnot. Super impactful in terms of our power level and understanding who we are. He is the homunculus of the king, a reincarnation, if you will, or a embodiment of the king's Megala, who was there to kind of preserve the king's memory and to make sure that the king's will was enacted appropriately. He had amnesia, yeah, right, just like our main character. So he's basically again, he's kind of a parallel to our main character, where he's the king, or he's a version of the king, and we're a version of the prince. He's a good character, but he's not my favorite character, if that's fair. In fact, I honestly am going to say it. I'm not even sure that... sorry, excuse me, my alarm's going off. I don't even think I liked him as much as the main king. I'm going to be honest, because the main king, Hythlodaeus, still had more impactful moments to me when he appeared in the sky with his face as a giant fucking planet and all that shit, So I think more good character, but not my favorite by any means. The Prince. Oof. This one is, oh man. Okay. The Prince, he only has a few moments in the game. He certainly seems very optimistic, hopeful for the future. He has beliefs. He is us. He is the main character, or a version of us, at least the original sentient kind of version of our character. And he's a bit of a mystery through the entirety of the game, which is kind of fun. But he doesn't, it's really hard to say, he's a very important part of the storyline and everything, but is he as important as the main character's development? It's like these two are like so interchangeable. It's crazy, do we go prince? Do we go main character? It is really, 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 really hard to say how to go with this kind of thing. To me, he plays a less important part than Moore. He's less prevalent than any of these characters are. Is he cooler than Barden? He's cooler than Barden. He shows up on, every time a day finishes, he shows up. The Prince's Curse is a big mystery. But he really is not much of a character. But is he more integral and more important than all of these characters here? I would say yes. So I'm going to put him under Sanctifex Forden. I'm just going to say, though, hey, look, if you disagree with this one, I think there's a big debate you could have here. I don't know what's the right way to go with the Prince. I'll be completely honest with you. I have no idea. Zorba. I like Zorba. I know people hate Zorba. I actually think Zorba, I like him from the perspective of he has convictions. He has beliefs. He knows what he wants to accomplish. He knows what he wants to do with his existence, and that's to serve Luis and to see Luis's ambitions come to life, to bring that to life for Luis. We have 2 massive boss battles with him. He has the power to raise the dead. I love the whole sequence leading up into the cathedral. It's like, who is this guy? Like, we gotta take care of this guy. He's definitely cooler than many of these other characters. I could see some people loving this character. He's not my favorite character, but I think he's a very good character. And he's very passionate, even though he's just very sorely misguided. But, you know, like, I definitely would put him... I'm going to put him here. I still think he... I know, this is crazy, but I still think he plays a more central part of the story than the king does. And... you know, it makes me actually think I should bring the prince down here. We don't have many at sea, so you know what? I'm going to move the prince this way. This all seems pretty fair so far. Zorba, I mean, I don't like him as much as any of the main characters, but he is very important. And I just generally don't like him as much as some of these characters here, just in terms of personality, because he's an asshole. But he's still a very important part of the story, and he's a puppet of Luis at the end of the day. So, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do here. We're actually gonna do Grius first, I think. Okay. Okay, Grius. Damn. Okay, Grius, number one, such a badass. I love his voice actor. He's only with us for a very short time. He awakens to his archetype very, like, just instantly. As I guess everybody who was around our main character does do that. So nothing, you know, I can't compare that. But it's just kind of cool, his moment where he awakens, becomes the mage or whatever. I think he becomes the mage. Isn't that what he starts off as? Can't remember now. Doesn't play a huge part in the story. He's Maria's dad. He's has very strong convictions. He literally tries to kill Luis and gets punished for it by fucking the king. But he's not in the game for very long. I'm not gonna lie. I know Grius is awesome. I'm not gonna deny that Grius is awesome, but unfortunately, he just doesn't play that much of a role in the entirety of the story unfolding. He's a very important part of the story, but is he as important as some of these other characters? I don't think so. Now, Alonso is the one that's sticking out to me. That's like, these two actually in particular. These two are sticking out to me because, again, they're optional content, whereas Grius is not optional. So, I don't know. I don't know if I made the right decision here or not, but we're going to go with this for now. Okay, Luis. You might not like this. Luis. Now, I haven't played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, okay? So don't crucify me. But Luis is straight up, in my opinion, this version of Luis is a better villain and antagonist than Sephiroth in the original Final Fantasy VII. That's my opinion. Now, that's not really fair. Final Fantasy VII, the original, came out, however many years ago, 20-something years ago. So to compare Luis to Sephiroth, doesn't seem super fair, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to say that Luis is a better villain, this version of, better than the version of Sephiroth in the original Final Fantasy VII. You end up learning that he is just as riddled with anxiety as the rest of you. His parallel with your main character is amazing. It's just, there's so many parallels between characters that they draw throughout the game. I've talked already about several of them. But your main character wants to basically, ascend to the throne to make sure that the world becomes a better place. And Luis wants to ascend to the throne to make sure that the world becomes a more just place to live in. But at the cost of everybody who lives in that world, which is a massive cost to pay, right? He has so many moments of dialogue that are so amazing. He's such a well-written character. He's so intelligent. He's so conniving. but he's also just blind to his own ambitions. He's the perfect antagonist. And I can see why they kept him as the antagonist throughout the entirety of the story, where he's not even evil. He's misguided, and he completely contradicts everything that our character wants to accomplish, which is, I can't think of a better antagonist in the real world. Like, think about in the real world that we live in. When we think about our own hopes and dreams, when we think about who's our enemy and who's our antagonist in the real world, well, it's the individuals who are directly grate against our own aspirations. That's what an antagonist is. And Luis is not even, it's really hard to say he's evil. I mean, he's ultimately evil, but he's in a major gray area as to what he's doing is right or wrong. He's an absolute fucking S-tier character. Now, is he better than Maria? I think he is. I love Maria. But goddamn, man, Luis is an S-tier character, in my opinion. I fucking love Luis. Okay. Stroll. You know, this is making me realize, damn, I probably got A tier stacked a bit too heavy here. Now that I'm here, okay, Stroll. Let's do it. Stroll. A man of honor. A man of his word. A man committed to family, to people, to the rebuilding of his kingdom. A man who stood side by side with us throughout all of the battles and trials and tribulations that we faced as the main character. An absolute badass. Cool as hell. Amazing voice acting. Just an absolute brother in arms through and through. Oh God. Stroll is one of the best characters in this fucking game. Damn, dude. Okay, hold on. You know what? This is where we're getting hard. I gotta move Marie. I'm sorry, but now that I'm realizing this, that feels right. Stroll is just an absolute rock-solid companion throughout the entirety of the game. He is honorable. He is convicted. He wants nothing but the best for the people that surround him. And he will sacrifice everything to attain that. Goddamn. Such a good character. Now, is he a little one-dimensional? He's a little one-dimensional. I will say that. He's not like Luis. Luis is a very complicated character. Stroll does not have the nuances that Luis has. Okay? So that's why I would put him a little bit lower. Jesus Christ. But he's still better than all of these characters, so... Okay. Gallica. Oh, man. I love Gallica. She is the partner companion that we have been wanting for forever. Now, some people might still not like her. That's fine. Look, I respect that. If you don't like Gallica, she's still too annoying for you, that's fine. To me, she's the best implementation of a guide, a companion character in a game like this. She is just a way cooler Navi. When I think about when I think about Ocarina of Time, excuse me, and I think about the visual of Link and Navi as partners in crime throughout the entirety of Ocarina of Time, I got so much of that vibe from the main character and Gallica side by side, heading throughout their journey and adventure together throughout the game. And Gallica's just, I just love Gallica, man. Just, she's intelligent. She is caring, thoughtful. She criticizes our main character when she doesn't think he's doing the right thing or using his time appropriately, which, hey, using your time appropriately is a super important part of this game. And just really genuinely is by our side throughout the entirety of the game. So, is she better than Stroll? I could go, I honestly, guys, I could go either way. Again, I think I could make the same argument for Gallica that I could make for Stroll, in that she's a little bit one-dimensional. But it doesn't really bother me. It just doesn't bother me. I'm sorry. She fulfills her role adequately, admirably, and I love her as a character. And my only complaint is that there's that screen where you can go to where you can put equipment on your characters, and she has a screen there, and it's very cute. It's like, okay, it's like they intended there to be an option to switch out some cosmetics or something. I kind of wish they gave us like fairy cosmetics. I think that would have been really fun. So, I mean, but whatever, it's not a big deal. Maybe in a future release or something they'll offer that, but whatever, it's fine. You know, it's not a make or break for me. I feel like Stroll and Gallica are very tied for me. And I just kind of like Gallica more. I just like her character design. I love Gallica. Sorry, not sorry. If you don't love Gallica, too bad. This is my tier list, so she's up there. Basilio. Okay. This is where people are going to get mad. I think Basilio is fine. I don't love his storyline, his follower bonds. They're okay. The whole thing with Vinca, and I just, they didn't give him enough time to really mature and grow with the party and grow as a character. I think he has, again, voice acting amazing. I love his voice actor. He's cool. He kind of reminds me of like a Jimmy, what's his name? From Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page kind of guitar player kind of dude, you know, 70s bell bottoms, kind of cool rocker dude, you know, Rolling Stones-ish kind of guy, Ronnie Wood. Was I in love with Basilio? I wasn't. I think he's good. I like him. I wanted to like him more, and I think a big part of that is just not getting to spend enough time with him in our party. I think that kind of held him back a bit. And like I had said earlier about Fidelio, I think Fidelio could have just as easily taken his place. I'll be honest. You're not going to like this, guys. You're not going to like this. I'm going to put him just above Fidelio. I know for some people he's a complete S tier, and you love him and you love his character growth. I mean, he kind of just seemed like the good guy right from the beginning. Like, it was pretty obvious to me that it was like, okay, yeah, I mean, if one of these two was going to very obviously join our party, it was going to be Basilio. But Fidelio would have been the more interesting option, I think, in the long run, because he would have had more character growth and more development to you know, come into his own as a character in our party, as to opposed to Basilio, who was already kind of just a decent dude. But I really like Basilio. I do. I don't like him as much as these other characters, though. Sorry. Hulkenberg. Okay. Man. Okay, Hulkenberg. I like Hulkenberg. Everybody likes Hulkenberg. Okay, so I love Hulkenberg's design. I think she's cool as hell. And my favorite character probably in all of the cutscenes was Hulkenberg. The anime cutscenes, the animated ones. She looked fantastic in those cutscenes. I don't think she looks great in just playing the game. Like, she looks fine. She's all right, but she didn't look great. I think they could have made her look cooler. She kind of, like, in terms of just, like, maybe, and it was just the build that I had with her, but, like, the knight ability, and maybe if I play Regicide mode, maybe it'll be different there, too. I found like I used her a lot very heavily in the first half of the game. After the Dragon Temple and onwards, she kind of fell off for me. Like, pretty much after Basilio joined the party, I used him way more than Hulkenberg. I used Heisme for his speed, agility boost. She just fell off in my party, unfortunately. And I also didn't love her follower bonds. They were okay. She's the Night Guard. She's very stubborn. She cares about our main character a lot. But ultimately, oh God, I like her a lot, but I just not my favorite character. Not my personal favorite character. So here's the question. Do I like Basilio more, or do I like Hulkenberg more? They're pretty equal. But we got to spend more time with Hulkenberg. The whole bug eating or eating weird shit, that was funny. She was great in the early half of the game. Like I said, she has amazing anime cutscenes. I'm going to put her just one slot above Basilio. But I just want to make it very clear that her and Basilio are very close for me. Okay? Very fucking close. Juna. Guys. Juna is one of my favorite fucking characters in this game. Amazing voice actress. Love all of her lines. I don't even care what she was saying. I just loved listening to her voice. I thought it was amazing. She is a character of depth, confidence, ability, complications. We first meet her when she takes the stage in front of the cathedral and she sings the song and brings all the people around her. She's a natural entertainer. She's an amazing vocalist. She is playing Luis. Only someone of very high intellect could manipulate Luis in that way. I love the dancer ability, the dancer archetype, rather. Amazing archetype. Use that so much. Helped me win many a battle, at least in normal mode. I love her character design. And then in her story, there's some very interesting things. When she reveals her true form of her race, and she's this tiny little, she's this tiny little thing. I mean, I love Juna. I love Juna, and she's one of my favorite characters in the entire game. And do I like her more than Gallica? I think I do. Gallica, or excuse me, Juna is S tier for me, okay? Juna is absolutely S tier for me all the way. Love Juna. Okay. Yufa. Oh, God. Yufa. One of the best characters in terms of our party members. So versatile. Has great stats. Is the true epitome of the mage. Well, not even. She's the summoner archetype. Very powerful. Helped me crush many a battles. She definitely has feelings for our main character, and I love that whole vibe on her. There's some complexities with her, but I wouldn't say she's super deep. She's super young, so she's still, I mean, I don't know how, I shouldn't say super young, but she's still building into the individual that she is, right? Jeez, I feel like I need to move some of this down. Okay, more, you know what? We're going to go high B tier. King high B tier. This feels much more right. I'm gonna balance this out a bit because I really don't want too much at the top end. Ooh, no, that doesn't feel right. Fabian's a B. This feels much better to me. Okay. So Yufa. I'm trying to think what else are the big memorable moments with her. I liked her storyline. It took us to the volcano area or whatever. There was that whole side quest that we had at the volcano, which was fun and enjoyable, but not a game changer or anything like that. But I do love her character. Do I like her more than Maria? I mean, she was a more important party member than Maria for sure, absolutely, and Katharina. I mean, it feels criminal to have these two right here. It does. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna put Yufa under Gallica. Okay. I don't know. This is really getting hard. Heisme. Now I know for some people he'd be like number one for you. Okay. I totally understand that. I get that. Heisme, I really love Heisme. Again, just The voice acting, his abilities as a character, very useful character to use in battle, especially like his ability to like not get hit at all was super fucking useful. I loved his story with him and his son and carrying around the ashes, and then he comes to terms with it and decides, you know, that he's just going to keep this son with him, and that's the rightful place for him. Like, it's a very touching story, absolutely. I still don't think I'm as hot now. Well, I don't know. Is he better than Yufa? I would say, generally speaking, he had more of an impact than Yufa had on the general story and outline of the, like, or, you know, totality of events that occurred within the game. I think that's totally fair to say. But now I feel like we kind of got to do this. Heismay to me is not an S tier. These three are S tiers, absolutely. There's no question about that. Nurse, okay. Nurse, pretty easy. This is an easier one. Fucking love Nurse. Everybody loves Nurse. He's just kind of, you know, he's like the uncle. He's like your crazy old uncle who is trying to figure shit out. You know, it was always nice to finish a dungeon, get back to him with the relic, hand that into him. He had kind of his own aspirations going on. He really, again, played an integral part of driving the story forward and ensuring the success of the characters. A character that I would love to spend more time with. Yeah, just generally be a really lovable overall, great character. Didn't love him as much as Maria or Katharina or Hulkenberg or Basilio or Fidelio for that matter. Damn, he's gonna be high B. Did I like him more than Alonso? Yes, I did. And I also think he's a more important character than Alonso. All right, guys. Last character. The MC. This one's really fucking hard. The biggest thing that I've seen about the MC is that people were pretty happy with his voice acting. I thought it was fine. It didn't blow me away. I wasn't like, oh, this is great or anything. He's definitely not nearly as good as Juna or Gallica or Heismay or any of these, really, to be honest with you. He's just kind of there. His transformation into the prince is, I think, what makes this character really super fucking awesome. That whole sequence was super surprising to me. It's kind of like going Super Saiyan almost, but like a really weird version of it where he's just like, yeah, I'm just, you know, I bonded my soul now with the prince's soul, and now I'm just some weird other, you know, I'm the heroic embodiment of the prince, I guess is kind of what it's supposed to be. That's super impactful. I think that's, you know, he is, I guess the main character is a metaphor for what the prince wanted to kind of be, or what he saw himself as. He's kind of the crux of the whole thing, the whole shebang. Metaphor, right? The game's called Metaphor. Our character is a metaphor. And our main character also carries hard. Like, he's the best fucking character in the game if you build him out correctly and give him the right stats and archetypes and everything. So in that sense, he is definitely absolutely essential. I just made mine a super powerful magic dude, and you know, he was clutch in every single battle that I played. I don't love his design as much as some of the other characters. Do I like the main character better than Heismay? Yes. Do I like the main character better than Gallica? Probably yes. Do I like the main character better than Luis or Juna? No, I don't. To be honest with you. I don't think I do. Okay. There it is. Is the main... Oh, goddamn. Damn, dude. This is really hard. But I like Yufa more than the main character. You know what? I like Yufa more than Heismay. And I probably like Stroll more than Heismay. And I like Maria and Katharina more than Heismay. Heismay's throwing me off here. I think I got him in the... Okay, now I like Heismay more than Hulkenberg and Basilia. Yes, I do. This is not the right place for the main character. Do I like Stroll more than the main character? Yes. 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 Do I like Maria more than the main character? I kind of feel like I do. God damn. But he had such a bigger impact on the story, too. This is just coming down to like an opinion list now at this point of like who I liked more or not. These two are very equal for me. Do I like the main character better than Katharina? Yes, I do. All right. I'm going with this. I'm feeling pretty good. Okay. I might have to reflect on this and reevaluate and decide if this is in fact the right way to go with this, but this feels fair. Yes, my favorite characters are Luis, Juna, and Gallica. This feels absolutely right to me when I think about my experience with the game and my personal favorite characters. The best dialogue was with these. The best, like, just companionship and experiences and stuff were with these characters in my experience. But if you disagree, I know it's a hot topic. So, anyway, there we go. We're going to end it there. This is my personal tier list, okay? Let's keep in mind, my personal tier list. This isn't, you don't have to agree, of Metaphor ReFantazio. I hope you enjoyed this. It certainly absolutely is up for debate. There's probably a million things I'm forgetting. I just finished the game a couple days ago. I'm going to have to reflect, and maybe we'll come back to this later, but I hope you enjoyed the video. And we got more stuff coming up for you here. We're going to be talking about Arcane Season 2. Path of Exile 2, and after that, Sonic and Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is coming up. I might have some stuff lined up for you there. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and hey, follow the path of your willpower and fantasy. Have a wonderful evening.